Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to the English class of 7th standard. In this class, we will continue the lesson number 2, A Gift of Chappals. I hope all of you remembered what so far happened in the story. As in the previous class we saw, Ravi was talking about history of his cat Mahendran, and suddenly a creak sound, which is unpleasant sound, started to coming from a window. Ravi said it was the sound of Lally learning to play the violin. Now let us further continue the lesson. Mridu crept up to the window. Lally was sitting little distance away, awkwardly holding her violin and bowstring, her elbows jutting out and her eyes glazed with concentration. So here when Mridu, Ravi and Meena, when they heard the sound, Mridu crept up. Here the word crept up means she moved up to the window to look inside the room. And when she saw inside the room, she saw Lily was sitting a little distance away from the window, and she was facing towards the window, and she was awkwardly holding the violin and bowstring. Here the word awkwardly holding, it means she didn't properly holding that violin and the bowstring, and she didn't know how to hold that violin properly. Her elbows were jutting out, means they were spread out. So her elbows were spread out and eyes glazed. Here the glazed means shining with concentration. Here she was trying to show she is playing it well, but as we all know, she was not. In front of her, with the most of his back to the window, was the bony figure of the music master. Now you can see here how Lily is sitting with the violin. Right in front of her, there was her music master, and he was a bony figure. Here, the bony figure means he was very thin and weak. He has a very thin and weak figure. He had a mostly bald head with a fringe of oiled black hair falling around his ears and an old-fashioned tuft. A gold chain gleamed around his leathery neck, and a diamond ring glittered on his hand as it glided up and down the stem of the violin. So now, how did the music master look? The first thing we know that he was a bony figure, he was a thin and very weak person, and he had the bald head. Here the word bald head means most of his head was without the hair, with the fringe of oiled black hair. Now here fringe means above the ears he had some hair, and he has applied some oil on it, which was falling around his ears, and an old-fashioned tuft. Here the word tuft means a small amount of hair that tied together, or even you can call it old-fashioned pony. And a gold chain was gleamed around his leathery neck. Here the word gleamed means shine, and leathery neck, that means rough skin texture of his neck. And diamond ring glittered. Here glittered also means shine only. So the ring was shining when he glided his hands up and down. Here the word glided means moved along smoothly, so on the stem of the violin. A large foot stuck out from beneath his gold bordered vesty edge, and he was beating time on the floor with the scrawny big toe. Here the music master's large foot stuck out from beneath his vesti. Here the vesti means dhoti in Tamil, okay? So which has golden border on its edges, and he was beating his scrawny big toe. Here the word scrawny means thin, okay? So he was beating those toes on the floor. He played a few notes. Lally stumbled behind him on her violin, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. Now, music master played some notes, means he played some music, and Lally stumbled. Here the word stumbled means followed haltingly, or even you can call she was not able to follow it properly, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. What a difference! The music master's note seemed to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible track of the melody. It was like the wheel of a train fitting smoothly into the rail and whizzing along, as Ravi said. Now here Ravi again started to talk about the differences, how the music master was playing and how Lalli was playing. Ravi says that the music master's note, they are very smooth and lovely to listen, and he compared it with a train smoothly running on the track. That means the music master played it perfectly and it was lovely to listen. Mritu stared at that huge bare-ringed hand moving effortlessly up the violin stem, making lovely music. Now, as the Ravi was saying all this, Mridu was staring that huge bare-ringed hand. Here, the word bare-ringed hand, that means master is wearing a ring. So, when he was playing the violin, his fingers moving easily up and down on the violin stem, making the lovely music. Quack! There was Lily derailing again. Amma came a while from the gate. Amma! Oh! Now, as they all enjoying the music master's lovely music, suddenly a squawk. Here, the squawk means a kind of fearful sound which is hard to hear. Okay, what was that sound? It was the Lully derailing again. That means playing bad again. With all this, they also heard someone calling Amma, oh Amma from the gate. Ravi, send that beggar away, cried his mother from the back veranda where she was chatting with Tapi. Now, as soon as they heard the sound Amma, Rukumani, that is Ravi's mother, cried, that means she shouted and called the Ravi and said to send that beggar away. And she called it this from the back veranda where she was talking with Tapi, that is Mridu's grandmother. He has been coming here every day for the past week, and it's time he found another house to beg from, Party explained to Tapi. Now, Party, that is grandmother of Ravi, was talking to Tapi, grandmother of Bridu, and she was saying that this beggar was coming from last week and he comes every day, and it is time for him to find another house now. Mridu and Meena followed Ravi out. The beggar was already in the garden, making himself quite at home. He had spread his upper clothes under the neem tree and he was leaning against its trunk, apparently prepared to take a little snooze while he waited for alms to appear. So now Mridu and Meena, they followed Ravi as he was going to send that beggar away. And when they went, they saw the beggar, without anyone's permission, was already inside the garden as if he was in his own home. He took his upper cloth, he spread it under the neem tree, and he leaned against or rested against the trunk of the tree and was ready to take a little snooze. Here, the word little snooze, that means a short sleep. Okay, while he waited for the alms to appear. Here, alms, that means offering. Okay, some kind of offering, whatever it may be, the food or money. Go away, Ravi said sternly. My party says it's time you found another house to beg from. So now what happened? Ravi started saying sternly. Here the word sternly, that means strictly, to that beggar to go away. My grandmother is saying you need to find another house to beg. Okay, dear students, let us stop here for today. In the next class, we will see how the beggar will react to this and what will happen next in the story. Till then, take care. Bye.